Well, basically it's a group for young people, for them to be able to share their story, like what they've been through and the help they've been given, and to manage their disorders and stuff. The whole aim is to improve services.
Michael, for the first time, had something with other children of a similar age who were in mainstream school, who had similar difficulties. He is now understanding about his feelings, and he does know he's a little bit different, and we've just made sure that he's proud of that, because it's nice to be different.
It started off, we all wrote our own stories down on pieces of paper and then shared it with the group and stuff, and we all got to learn what we'd each been through, and that it was really good, because then we bonded with each other more, and then we were able to like share more personal things to put in the film.
Walking through the door, thinking that it was a shopping store, realising it was a clinic, I was thinking something is happening more.
After we'd done that, the director, she decided we would put all the stories in, bits of the stories, and there was poems and like stop frame animation, and we had like narration over the top of what people had been through, like different people's stories from different people's point of views.
When I was a kid, I never understood why talking to people felt like I was falling off a never-ending skyscraper, a constant crushing feeling that something bad was about to happen. It was like you couldn't breathe, like you're underwater drowning.
I suppose difficult telling your own story, and I think he felt a little bit uncomfortable at first about sharing his story. I think once he started hearing what other children's stories were, he thought actually they're just like me. They've had similar experiences to me. They've been anxious, they've been depressed around the way in which services have been run and what's been expected when they've been going along to where they have to for appointments.
Michael found it very difficult. He's found it very difficult to make friends and to keep friends. He wants to have friends, but he finds it difficult with how to talk, obviously, to them, and lack of social understanding. And autistic children can be very truthful, which they don't realise may hurt others, and others decide, well, I'm not going to have anything to do with them anymore. So when he came to the group, he was in an environment where children were very similar, and I think he was able to express himself, and there was no judgment there, and he really helped him.
In primary school, I used to get told off a lot for being quiet and not socialising with other kids. I used to just sit on my table by myself. I felt really different.
When we first drew the characters, it was easier rather than like making facial expressions, because it's very personal, so you have to like hide your identity. So using drawings we were able to create the similar sort of thing. It's good because we've told like all people our story, and from that, the help we have been given, we've given advice how to improve it, and they'll listen to it, and they'll hopefully help improve the services that we've got.
The way in which the project was going to be constructed, in that it was using forms of art to actually listen to and describe how children and young people as service users experienced our services, felt like a really good idea, given that the subject area is quite sensitive. The benefit is that, particularly with children and young people, most commissioners are adults, and we cannot see through the lens of a child anymore. Although we have once been one, we are no longer those people. And you get the here and now, don't you, from a child's perspective, and also an amazing amount of honesty that perhaps adults don't bring to the arena.
I was introduced to a therapist to help me with my behaviour. She started coming to my school. However, I didn't like this, for the school environment only made me think of work and lessons. The hospital wasn't any better. It felt dull, too formal, and made me feel different. Well, we're the ones who were getting the help in the end, so we need to feel comfortable in an environment where we can comfortably talk with the people about how we're feeling and what we're going through.
It already has had an impact, already definitely has had an impact, because we've seen, or I've personally experienced different conversations with providers around what they want to do to make things change. That's even without the whole redesign, where they've said, yes, this has challenged us, this has made us think differently about how we provide our services. And obviously the strong message that came out of the Chaos film was very much about children and young people friendly services, and some very simple changes that can take place, which are sometimes embedded in culture within organisations. So things like just having a warm and smiley person to welcome you into a service. It just costs nothing.
I got sick of being bullied for being different.
I was bullied at school badly.
I let all my anger out on the most important people.
I may have took things out on people at home, but my mum got little or no help.
I know that a lot of people saw the film that needed to see the film, commissioners, and as yet we're still waiting to see the changes, but hopefully maybe they will think about where they see children, what they're doing with interventions to help them cope with their mental health.
For the film, we got to meet the commissioners again, and then we got to speak to them about like what they were going to do. And we had a wall at the back called the pledge wall, and what they would pledge to do. So like, say improve the waiting rooms, they would say that. They would say, I pledge to do this. And we got the young people who'd taken part in the film got to feel like reassured after seeing that, after seeing the wall, that they knew things were going to change.
His favourite subject is reptiles. That is his obsession, and he's now, rather than talking, he's actually drawing his obsession out. So he does spend a lot of time in rooms just drawing, which is lovely, which I don't think he would have done without your help. I think he's a lot better now. I'm a lot more promising, because I do think he understands himself a lot better. Over the moon with what you've done for my son. I think the children were amazing. I think yourselves have been amazing. I'm so hopeful that it will continue, because there's a lot of children out there that need you, and I think you could really change their lives.
This is not a story about a disorder. This is the story of my life.